Everybody, and today we're doing a Diablo 3 episode, and today we're going to go over probably the T8 farming build I'm using at the moment. Um, yeah, it's a pretty simple build, not very hard to put together, because it's pretty much gear you can either craft or come by pretty easily on a different character. And I know, it's like you have so many sets, but not really. um, So first, we'll go over gear, then skills, then Paragon. And then we'll show you a little bit of gameplay. So the first set is the Thorns of the Invoker because it helps with area damage and it also gives some resistances after bombardment. So it's definitely helpful. Um, the next set is the Oghild's Authority set, which helps against when you're attacking elites. So then that's pretty much the sets that you'll use. The next piece of gear, well, three pieces of gear that you'll need are Belt of the Trove, Hack, and Votoyus Spiker, which is really annoying to pronounce. um, yeah, Belt of the Trove is pretty self-explanatory because it brings down the rune that you're using, and we're using barrels of spiked. So next is Hack, which is also self-explanatory because your Thorns damage is when you're not buffed with the passive that we're using, Iron Maiden, you have around 88,000 Thorns, which is really low. But if you have the buff from the passive, because at least one stack of it, it goes up to about 50%. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but that puts you at 156,000 Thorns with this. If you have more than one stack, you're going past 200,000 Thorns. So, yeah. And then the Votius Spiker, I'm saying it different now, I don't even know how to say it. But, what it does is makes Provoke take, enemies affected by Provoke take double damage from Thorns. So if you have 150,000 Thorns, you're gonna have 300, well not 300,000 Thorns, but you're doing a crap ton of damage is the way to say it. When you have Provoke on an enemy, plus an Arcanized Cube, we have the Final Witness, which it's really just because the Furnace is too one-sided, in my opinion, because you just don't get the, you don't get the damage boost as much, which you would need on a bunch of enemies, because you're hitting more enemies, you're not really aiming for elites for this build, you're really just murdering everything, you're not elite hunting at all. Endless Walk set would be helpful, but it's not really needed. I really have Traveler's Pledge just because it's got decent rolls on it. Not very good, but it's well enough that I'm using it. And now we'll go over the skills. The skills are pretty simple. They pretty much go hand in hand with gear like most, but yeah. So we'll go for the first skill is Punish Celerity, which we're using this rune because when you hit with Hardened Senses active, you gain 15% increased attack speed. And this is important because when you get some extra attack speed from this, you'll be hitting for more damage more times because you've already got the attack speed boosted by 50% and any other attack speed you might have on your gear. So yeah, that's why we're using Celerity. Next is Iron Skin, Reflective Skin. Now, normally you might be using a movement skill here, but I chose not to. Reflective Skin mainly because it increases it by 300%, and that's just absolutely insane. Just go with it. it's the best way to do it. Because if you do that, you're around with one stack. Well, not one stack, but if you do that, you hit around 2 million thorns when you have Iron Skin up. So you're hitting and pretty much one-shotting most things that you hit with your bombardment and punish, or two-shotting. Um, Next skill is Provoke Hitmate, which is gain 50% increased block chance for 4 seconds after casting Provoke. This is mainly so we don't take as much damage. And I would say use Too Scared to Run if you have a crap ton of health. So yeah, that's what you would use if you have over 1,000,000 health, but I don't, so I'm using Hitmate. So next is Bombardment Barrels of Spikes, which in place of burning spheres, barrels of spikes are hurled. Damage of each barrel is increased by 200% of your thorns. Pretty self-explanatory. Defensive, the next skill is Shield Glare Divine Verdict. Blinded enemies take 20% more damage. Pretty self-explanatory, so don't need to explain it too much. And Speed Charge, Spike Barding. This is why I say these skills are really simple, because they explain themselves. They don't require too much explaining. Passives, Towering Shield, increase the damage of Punish, Shield Bash, and Blessed Shield by 20%, reduce the cooldown of Shield Glare by 30%. Next is Hold Your Ground, you can no longer dodge, but your block chance is increased by 30%. Now this goes hand in hand with Provoke. Pretty self-explanatory. Next is Fervor. While wielding a one-handed weapon, your attack speed is increased by 15%, and all cooldowns are reduced by 15%. Next passive, Iron Maiden. Already been explained. So, this is why I say it's a really easy build to put together, because you could do this pretty easily without the Invoker set. It just wouldn't be as high a difficulty. You'd probably be at T6. I did that without full Invokers. I did it with, like, I think these 3 pieces. And I had, like, rares still in some of my slots. So, I was doing T6 with rares in some of my slots. Pretty sad, but yeah, you like it. So yeah, now to Paragon. What you want to do is you want to go, normally you wouldn't go Maximum Wrath, which I shouldn't be, that's just leftover. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter what you put in this. I had Maximum Wrath because I was built for it, and I'm just too lazy to change it. Movement speed is just to clear faster. Next, and if I say I'm too lazy to change something and I'm doing T8 easily, it needs fixed, Blizz. Needs fixed. Cooldown reduction. First, alright, so offensive. Crit chance, crit damage, cooldown reduction, and then attack speed. Now, I've been kind of stressing attack speed, but it's not really that necessary because it only gives you 10%. I know it's like, but it all matters. No, it doesn't. Really, attack speed isn't that crucial. It's just a lot more helpful, and we get enough of it from our gear anyway, so not really needed in Paragon. Could be spent on better things. Alright, so next is the defensive, which is armor, resist all, life, and then life regeneration. Now, life regeneration isn't really helpful because we already have 1.6 million. So, well, let's spend those again. Alright. So then we go to utility. You pretty much just doesn't really matter what order, except for hit life on hit first. And you can do whatever order, it doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna open up a rift here. Speed piling is helpful, not necessarily needed. Now your general rotation with mobs, if they're not already dead from your thorns, is to typically shield glare first, then provoke. So, and then if you're in an elite group, you can pop iron skin. So if we hit an elite group, we're gonna pop iron skin, and our damage is increased by a crap ton. So yeah, gonna mess this poor reflection right here. It's not really speed farming per se, but it is definitely farming. It's pretty easy build if you're just farming for rift keys or other things. And you can, if you have rift keys and you're just doing greater rifts, you can just do 35s and rank up gems to 25 pretty quickly. And it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's an easy, like, nonchalant build. You don't really have to do much. Ooh, big words, I know. I'm smart. Just kidding. um, but yeah, it's a bit, like, it's not hard to play for sure, and it's not really that hard to put together either because you don't even need the Thorns of the Invoker set. So it's pretty much the the lazy build of the Crusaders. It's what I'm going to use to farm for the better build, like the Long Crusader, Legacy of Nightmare Crusader, which not you just have to get all ancients, which is why I'm still trying to get it because of Wailing Host and Litany of the Undaunted, which I don't have ancient of either. So because I'm not, I don't know life. I just like helping people. It's like helping people with the game. The game. You know, piece of crap, goblin. What? Glitch, glitch. Okay. So yeah, this is the Crusader Thorns build. As you can see, it's not very hard to play. You don't even really have to focus much. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you, and I'll see you next time.